welcome back to New Day. And yes, we're streaming live from the studios of TV3, first in news, best in entertainment. We mentioned this early on in the program that we were going to be speaking to a lady who was in a video which went on, it actually went viral sometime last year. So this was a lady who at the time was a third-year student of the University of Cape Coast. She was in a video doing a striptease dance. Well, fast forward, Nana Abena Korkor has undergone some psychiatric treatment. In fact, beyond that, she's also established the Psychosocial Africa. It's an NGO, and she's hoping to throw more light on mental health in Ghana. So Nana Abena is my guest. Nana, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Well, how are you this morning? You look amazing.
Thank you.
You know, I have a prejudice when I see people in such videos, you know, with nudity and you know, exposing themselves and all. I just immediately conclude that they have ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, which is not a grave mental disorder in and of itself. It may be a symptom of a mental disorder. When you were recording yourself in that video, what were you thinking? What did you think you were doing? Were you just seeking attention? Did you just have ADHD?
No, that was no, not at all.
What is the reason for recording that video?
It was at that moment, I thought it was just for entertainment, for my own personal view. Yes.
But you did mention that you uploaded it onto the internet yourself.
Yes, when I was.
Was that also for entertainment?
No. During the manic phase, you do things that you cannot really account for. You don't really know why you do them.
Okay, you're telling us the manic phase because you've gone through a diagnosis.
Yes.
All right. So what was the diagnosis?
Bipolar disorder.
Bipolar. Okay. Yes. And I know there are variations of bipolar.
Sure.
Okay,
sure.
But you're giving us the stages. What is the manic stage?
Okay. Bipolar means two separate poles.
Yes.
We have a manic phase and a depressive phase.
Yes.
Every human being goes through that. But for when you're a bipolar patient and you're in either a manic phase or depressive phase, you go to the extremes of maybe either being very, very happy or
so manic
very, very
is
sad.
elation, excitement.
Elation.
Okay.
It has so many pros, but when it's not managed, it goes to its worst.
Right.
Yeah. So the video being posted and all that, I was in a manic phase, and the video was just like 1% of what actually happened.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Can you give us the rest of the 99?
Oh, wow. Okay. For witnesses to that, like when I went to Accra Psychiatric Hospital, first I wasn't feeling when I felt I wasn't well. So I went to Tema Women's Hospital first. I was like, I think I have a hormonal imbalance or something. You know, I was talking a lot of biology and stuff. So I went to be tested.
Because you were reading something like that in school.
Yes, I do biomedical science.
Right.
So the doctor did his test and referred us to Accra Psychiatric Hospital. And when I got there, they said, you have a problem. We have to inject you for you to calm down. I was like, this is myself. I'm okay. It took 4 security men to hold me down.
To hold you down.
And I almost kicked the pregnant doctor. So you can get that hyper, you can get that so much energy. And if it's not channeled properly, you distract yourself and others.
To what extent was peer pressure a factor? Because I noticed in a number of the videos, you actually did it in the presence of someone I presume was a friend. There's one with you, I mean, with that video that went viral. There was, I'm sure someone was doing the recording. She was making statements like, yay, I'm turned on already. And then in another where you're in a nice skimpy bikini, there's another lady sitting not too far away from you. To what extent did the peer pressure in school account for this? Do you think
most of what I do is motivated by me? I'm not really.
You're not easily pressured by.
Yes.
I see. And so how about the pressures of school? You know, because I'm going to, for instance, if you knew whether there was the existence of counselors in school on campus or psychotherapists, you know, so how about the pressures of school? Because you were studying, what did you say you're studying again?
Biomedical science.
So I imagine having to make the grades and also have a social life. Do you think that this imbalance or pressure also triggered your bipolar?
It could be. Actually, I have never visited any of the counseling centers yet. It's not.
Do you know if they're there in school?
They are there, but it's not easily accessible as it's supposed to be. Yeah, it should be a friendly zone that you can go and ask questions or so. But probably I haven't really paid attention. Yeah, I'm just talking from my point of view.
Okay.
So it was just concerned individuals on campus, my dean of students, my head of department, my psychology lecturer, Mr. Com. He noticed some changes in my behavior. I'm very vocal in class. I ask a lot of questions. I answer lots of questions. And it got to some time, I'll be so hyper, and then the next minute I'm sleeping. And then the next minute I'm up. Then if I have to describe something in class, I'm very graphic and creative about it. So he knows conditions like, so he called me to his office. Is everything okay? Are you having problems at home? I was like, oh, I'm fine. I'm super. Everything is okay. So he maybe, I don't know if he thought I knew I had a condition like that and I'm managing it, or I didn't know at all. But my psychology lecturer, realized that there was a change. He called me and I thought I was okay, so there was no follow-up. Yeah.
What are the risk factors? Are there any known causes of bipolar, genetics, family history?
From the research I've done, it can be inherited, And
is there a family history of bipolar?
I don't know. I was surprised myself, and sometimes I doubt if it's really that. Yeah, sometimes I doubt if it's really that. So it can be inherited. So it's possible I can give it to my kids, or I got it from a grandparent or something, because it could be maybe 100 years ago or something. It could not be immediate. Genetics is very confusing and not so straightforward like that sometimes.
Easy to track.
Yeah.
So is this a lifelong disorder?
Yes, it is. It is like the way when you get congenital diabetes, it's a long time. It's a lifetime something that you have to manage with medication, psychotherapy.
So it cannot be cured outright.
Yes,
but you just
as a scientist, I'll say as of now, the facts that I have, I don't know of any cure.
Okay.
Probably there might be a cure in future. Probably you can go and they'll mutate your genes or something and pick that factor out.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I suppose treatment started right after diagnosis.
Yes.
What did treatment entail? What does treatment entail? Because you're still undergoing treatment.
Yes. You go on medication, lots and lots of medication, because at the beginning there was so much of drugs loaded into me. But now
were you admitted to the hospital?
Yeah, to the hospital.
Okay.
Yeah.
For how long were you there?
Maybe 2 to 3 weeks,
if
my memory serves me right. Most of the time I was sedated.
I read that you actually ran out of the place.
I was in the ward, and I had the opportunity once to step out. Some administration people came from my school to come and see me.
Right.
So when I went out of the ward, I was like, I'm not going back, because
what you saw, you felt like you don't belong here.
Yes.
What did you see? I know I'm going to ask you to unravel some unpleasant experiences, but maybe you know better than most can tell us exactly what goes on there at the Accra Psychiatric Hospital.
Yeah. First of all, the the space for the patients is small.
Okay. In the wards?
In the wards, no proper beds, maybe no proper ventilation, lighting, and it's just, let's say, medication in bed. I actually asked one of the psychiatric doctors,
yes.
and he said that maybe the government or the facility is supposed to provide occupational therapists.
Right.
These are people who can take the patient through crafts, something to while away their time while they are there.
Indeed.
Yes.
So they're not idle all the time.
They are not idle all the time.
Yeah.
And even when you get aggravated, if you have something possible,
you channel your energy into that.
So it's just medication and sleep and food, and the food is something else.
Oh.
Yeah, so if they see you're just a little bit excited, they'll just inject you. I remember one time I asked my dad to bring me something for music, because that's what calms me down when I'm hyper. And there was no music allowed, because there's an iPod or whatever, you can break it and use it to hit someone too. Yeah, so you don't allow some things inside,
Were you confined alone, or did you share the ward with other people?
With other people with different conditions, and some of them
even more grave than yours. And
yes, I could hurt somebody, and somebody could hurt me too. Yeah.
Okay, so I know that one of the objectives of Psychosocial Africa is to, establish support groups.
Yes.
I think that's brilliant. I think it's very commendable. Except that, because you're looking at something like AA, Alcoholic Anonymous, except that in this part of the world, there's such heavy stigmatization, attached or against people who are public or vocal about their disorders. I'm wondering how you're going to get around this.
I'll use myself as an example. Probably I'll be the exceptional one or something. But when you set your mind to it, the stigmatization doesn't become a problem for you personally. Maybe the other people will have a problem with it, but that's on them. But you, the person with a condition, you should try as much as possible to mentally psych yourself that you're not a problem. Like, I have this quote, I said, I have a mental disorder, but I'm not a disorder. Yes.
She has t-shirts, in fact, to that effect. Let me pick one and show.
Yeah, so you are not a disorder.
So this is really a movement you started.
Yes. This is, I may be mentally unstable, but I'm one of your own. I'm still human, and I'm one of your own.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so how about psychotherapy or psychotherapists in our institutions? Because I mentioned earlier, if you knew of the existence of counselors or psychotherapists, especially in our institutions of higher learning, because of the pressure again that comes from making the grades and having a social life. So are you working towards this? Is this one of the objectives, the goals?
Yes. I had to see a therapist. I was seeing Dr. Sepa Dede. I've not seen her for some time now because there are people on my campus that I can see. But you have to make time. You, the person with a condition, you have to make time. Your family has to make time so that you can visit these professionals to handle your condition. Yeah.
But I dare say there are students on campus who have this.
I actually have someone in my class that I'm talking to. Right. Yeah, he's currently out of school. He's been out of school for over a week. Yeah, and he's having problems with his medication. The medication, it really takes a long time to get into the system for it to normalize everything. Sometimes it takes over 3 months before these antidepressants and mood stabilizers, actually, those who are pharmacologists, they know it takes a while before the effects, like, it's
actually kicking. I see.
Yeah.
I was going to come to that. Your treatment entailed encompassed medication, but no psychotherapy.
No, but it included psychotherapy.
Or some psychotherapy. Yeah. What were the side effects of the medication?
Well,
because you're still undergoing treatment.
One of them that I don't like so much, it makes you gain so much weight.
Oh,
yeah. Well, but I'm managing it.
Too bad.
I'm managing it.
Deal with it.
Yeah, I'm managing it. And some of them get you low levels.
You're right, because
energy.
you do.
And even
much polar in size than in the video.
Yeah, when you're married, it's bad for you because it gives you low libido. So maybe your husband would want to do something. You have no interest. You have no energy. You want to sleep all the time. You're not motivated to do anything. Yeah, it has so many adverse side effects. You get, if you're not lucky, you might get.
How does this affect your social life? Are you in a relationship? Are you seeing someone? Are you dating?
Well,
yes, you are. How does this affect that relationship? Does it?
When I met the person, first of all, I educated the person about it. We're still discussing another support group, and they go like, you shouldn't disclose your problem to someone you intend to date. When the love grows stronger, then you let it out. I was like, no, it shouldn't be that way, because I know this is the problem. This and this can happen.
You'd rather say it immediately.
It's given me a lot of problems in the past. It's now that I reflect on it, I'm like, okay, so this was what was happening, and I really had no control over that. So I would just encourage people, if you have a condition and if that person is really for the long haul, you should let the person know about your condition. The two of I'm still learning about the condition. The two of you learn about it each day. When the challenge comes, you are able to solve it. You should know the medication you take, the side effects. If anything is triggering like a manic episode, he can call like any support group, a health
or a depressive
professional.
Yes.
So I have very good friends that always check up on me, make sure I'm taking my medication. Mind seeing the doctor. My dean of students is always asking me, are you doing that? I'm my head of department. So they've been very, very supportive.
So how about, the factors that can trigger these episodes, manic and depressive? I am wondering how you deal with judgmental comments on social media. I took time to go through your videos all over again, and I was amazed at the barrage of insults and judgmental comments that were coming in. How do you manage? Do you even bother to pay heed to these comments?
I read them.
Why do you?
Okay, some people try to seek advice through that same channel. They have to comment on your page. Okay, Abena, I need some help. How can you help me out? So you have to go and look for those people. And as you're looking for those people, you see, excuse me to say, some of these people are ignorant. There's this guy on Facebook, and he has the comments. One guy was like, oh, there are so many world leaders and renowned people that have mental problems. So Beethoven, Leonardo, the artist, they all had mental problems. And he was like, oh, all these great people, had mental problems. And the guy commented, why are you dragging these names in the mud? So then he doesn't know any history about that. So some people just need to be educated. And that's what Social Africa seeks to do, to educate people, just learn about mental, this illness. It's the way people know so much about malaria, know so much about HIV. They should know about these conditions too. And sometimes you might not have a mental illness per se, but you might just be going through a psychological phase. And if you know these things, you can manage it properly.
Okay, so what's now your relationship with people who I suppose were hurt when some of your manic episodes came to light or manifested? I saw some WhatsApp comments, a thread of conversation on WhatsApp between you and some men you had mentioned that you I suppose had an affair with. What's your relationship now with them? Do they understand what you were going through at the time?
Yeah, I'll say 99.9% of them realize.
What are many?
I wasn't dating them, point of correction. The media twisted most of the stories. They're not people that were dating. Maybe some of them wanted to date me, but they're not people that I were dating.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
you were dating.
Yes.
Yeah, because some seemed very sexual. I read the comments, and some of them seemed very sexual.
Yeah.
But you've now bridged whatever.
Yeah, most of them, knew it was Abena is not like that. Abena is a very private person when it comes to some things. So it was definitely, and those who know the condition, sympathize with me, they call to check up on me. Are you taking your medication? How are you managing in school? Some of them are very, very supportive. There's one of them, I think the doctors went on strike or something. I couldn't get a prescription for my medication. He actually called a colleague pharmacist to get me enough medication for 2 months. And so God bless them for being so supportive. Even though I trashed them on social media, I dragged their name and the man. Some of them have been
at the time you were running for SRC president or so. How did this affect you?
I was hospitalized, so I didn't even get the chance to compete. Yes.
And how has this affected your grades at school?
Okay,
you've had to repeat the year.
Yeah, before the videos were posted, that semester before, I think that's when the symptoms started. I would maybe miss classes. I'll be in class, very active in class, but one of the symptoms is you have a lot of racing thoughts. So, you get a lot of ideas, you want to do a lot of things and all that. So even with this project, sometimes I sound like, are you sure it's not one of those things? So right now, I know I have this condition. I have a support group. I have people that I can always, talk to that, okay, is this okay to do? You know, that's why even the previous interviews I was with my psychiatrist. So everything I do is sort of regulated and tracked. You get very creative and innovative. It's a platform, Bipolar, but you need people to help you manage those ideas.
Yes. Yeah. I think you're one very brave young lady.
Thank you.
I recall seeing some of the comments. This was on amayaldebra.com. And, you know, yes.
I was surprised.
And she actually responded. She actually replied and said, very interesting.
Very interesting because I respected that guy so much because I think a friend of mine introduced me personally to him once. It was a very short. It was a very short. I think they were doing a premiere of a movie at the Accra Mall. So I met him just once. I didn't really know him. So I met him just once. It made me follow him on Instagram. I was following up with his stuff, and I thought, oh, this guy really gives credible information. He's educated. He's not one of these people who just wants any news for fame. So I was really surprised he didn't do any research and he just copied and pasted or whatever. It was very sad.
Yeah, and
most of the respected media houses did not do any research, and you people are on the international front and you're giving out vague information. Even if that was the news at that time, you could have gone back to retract some things and all that. When you Google Abena Korkor now,
that's what I did.
It's amazing, you know. So much false information. It wasn't even a sex tape. You know, almost 90% of them put their sex tape. You know, probably if I had the funds and great lawyers, I'll see all of them.
Maybe it's not too late.
It's not too late.
But now that you mentioned this, now that I look at you and your bubbly self, I mean, you really are a sweet, pleasant person. So I imagine that would be very difficult to detect in a young child. It must be very difficult to detect bipolar signs in a child.
Because when I was so hyperactive, people thought it was just normal. Like, that I'm always around. I love to party with my friends. I love to go out. I'm a loud person. Yeah, so sometimes it's very hard to detect, and it's difficult. So probably maybe you have to hit the peak before they can realize, you know, okay, it's actually got to that stage. Yeah.
How about, I know you've explored several means of treatment. How about spirituality? I was hoping you'd come here with a psychiatrist.
After I left the hospital, I was in a retreat center for over 4 to 5 months.
Was this helpful?
It was. Grace Presbyterian Korkor, Yeah, headed by Dr. Aboafe. Yeah. You know, sometimes when it happened, you hear, you know, I wasn't watching TV and I wasn't reading the newspapers at that time, but at least my family members told me, because when it happened, some of the men are like close, maybe family friends, and they go like, oh, apologize to these people.
Some of the men you reported,
you have to apologize. At that time, I was still angry, aggravated. I was like, why should I apologize to this person? You know, I spoke to my parents anyhow. Anybody that confronted me, I'll just give it to you. You know, you just talk anyhow when you're in that phase too. So after I realized, when I calmed and I realized, oh, you've done all this. You spoke to mommy anyhow. You spoke to daddy anyhow. So you feel bad about yourself.
So you actually remember those episodes?
You remember everything. You don't forget anything.
I thought it would be vague in your memory, but you remember
everything. Yeah. I was fascinating. I was talking like my late auntie. You know, I was like, the husband was sick at that time. I was like, I want to see my husband. It was very intense. Some of it was intense, and you know, we are Africans, and you think it's there's some aspect that I think there was some spirituality involved because of the SRC competition. Yes. So because there was an incident, not witches of mine. There was an incident that happened because I posted.
Pray do tell. Well, we have to go on about interested.
There was an incident that happened that was quite questionable. I don't believe in those things too much, but I was like, there's a little bit of spirituality.
But you're a Christian.
I'm Christian. And my pastors, you know, said something. We had to pray a lot, and hints and stuff to get you back on track.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm glad. Good to know. Because when I was in school and going through the pressures in institutions of higher learning, which people don't realize. I remember that, yes, we have to wrap up now. I remember in level 200 when I became a resident on campus, you know, I would change, people, you know, don't change clothes for months. Me, I was changing clothes like every fortnight. And people would laugh at me, call me uniform and all that. It was just the word of God that held me together. I imagine the things people have done just so they can belong. So I'm glad spirituality is
it's very, I take my Christian life.
So has Psychosocial Africa started any work? I have to go now.
We have people that started calling in, and we are referring people to the various psychiatric institutions and personnel that they can get.
Fantastic. You are an amazing personality.
Thank you.
You are Abena Korkor Ado. Very transformed and reformed. Very nice. Good job. Psychosocial Africa. How do we reach you?
We're on Facebook as Psychosocial Africa, on Instagram Psychosocial Africa, and Twitter. We couldn't put all the Africa there, so it's AFR.
Okay.
Yeah, on Twitter.
All right. Thank you. I think you look like Bridget Otu. Your nose is Bridget Otu's nose. She works here